Live from the Shabby Shack, in association with Liver and Bacon Productions, it's ATW Podcast.
Shabby Shack. Liver and Bacon. Shabby Shack.
ATW Podcast.
We're live. Okay. Hey, welcome to the Shabby Shack. This is ATW Podcast, 28 minutes plus. That's because we're going for 28 minutes, but we might want to carry on just a touch. So 28 minutes plus with ATW. And today, I have a very good friend of mine here. He's international golf pro, but also NLP coach. And he was the first ever punk to play golf. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Andy Pakes. Hello, Andy. How are you?
Good evening.
Yeah, it's good here, isn't it? Do you like the shack?
It's a great place.
You like it?
It's a great place.
Happy St. Paddy's
Yes.
Day. I know it's not quite a Guinness glass, but they are very sexy glasses, aren't they?
They are, aren't they?
You're good health. You're good health. So Andy, let's go first back. You grew up where?
Luton,
Luton, England.
Luton. Yeah.
Okay.
7 years old. Moved down to Bournemouth.
Just checking. Can we hear him all right? You sure? Yeah, because he's quite... Okay, cool. Just checking, because he was very above. Yeah, just lift it up a touch. It's okay. Don't worry, we can do this. It's live, you know?
Oh, right.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
Doesn't matter. So you got into golf. It's safe to say you're quite obsessed with golf.
Yeah. Played golf from a kid, really.
What age?
Started at 7.
7 years old. And
7
why?
years
What
old.
brought you to the golf? What brought you to the
Father
golf
was
course?
a county golfer.
Your father was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he died of a heart attack when I was 7.
Oh.
So my mother brought me down to Bournemouth with my sister and immediately got me into Fernand Golf Club because it was her way of being a very good mother and keeping me off the streets and stop me throwing stones at windows.
Yeah. Did you fall in love with golf straight away, though?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah?
I did, and I had a couple of really good mates that played golf, so yeah.
So it's useful. It's good. It's useful
Yeah.
having your immediate companions
Absolutely.
doing the same thing.
Yeah. So we were, evening, summer holidays. Yeah, all we did was play golf, and then of course you can't help but get good at it. We didn't work at it. We just played. We competed against each other,
And you loved
that's
it.
What you do, yeah.
So at what age did you know that you were going to probably become a pro?
When I became pro, because it was just coincidence. It was just I had nothing else to do. I left school with no qualifications.
Did you really? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
For some reason I had it in my head you went to Cambridge.
No, I always used to tell the children when they were growing up, you've got to work hard, you've got to work hard. And their mother was very, very well educated.
Very academic.
Yes. And
This is your ex-wife.
yes, she always used to say to me, she said, well, of course, your dad didn't get any qualifications. And the
I
kids
honestly never knew that. I've known you.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
he's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Honestly, for some reason, I've always thought you were very, very academic.
And the kids used to say, well, why didn't you get any qualifications? You can't be that stupid. And I said, well, I wasn't allowed to take the exams.
Keep talking into the microphone.
And they said, why not?
Yeah.
And I said, because I wrote them.
You wrote this?
Yeah. And they believe that to this day.
Do they really?
Yeah.
And your daughter is a doctor, a very successful doctor.
She's doing rather well.
Yeah. She's in Denmark?
She's in Denmark, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but so the one thing about you is even if you didn't go forth and go to university and so forth. By the way, do you know what my mum used to tell my German family?
Was?
Die hat gesagt. She used to tell them, Alan went to Southampton University because it's closer to Bournemouth than Cambridge is.
Very true.
Very true.
Very true. Yeah.
I love that story.
Did you go to university?
I did. It's hard to believe. Hard to believe that you didn't and I did.
Well, I'd never know. We never had this conversation.
Well, I studied marketing at Southampton.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Well, I suppose it does sort of coincide with. I am a bit of a self-marketing.
Fruit and veg, or
Well, marketing. Well, I left university and immediately got a job working for Walt Disney. So over in
you?
Orlando, Florida.
Hey, you were Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Got it.
So that was, but I kind of look back at that as my proper uni time, because that was the bit where I really learnt. I don't feel I learnt that much at school or university or college,
it
really.
sets you up, doesn't it? You learn when you leave school. That's when it's
100%. My life started the moment I left university. Yeah, it got really, really good as well. I can honestly say it's been a brilliant journey. So what age did you actually leave school?
16 O levels.
Okay, so, and
I
you
didn't get any.
You didn't.
I got one. I took
What did you get?
I took maths in the 4th year and passed it.
Okay.
And I thought I was good at everything, so I didn't bother to work for the next year. And then I got U's in everything.
Really?
It took about 6 or 7. Yeah.
Wow. I am completely and utterly shocked.
I got a U in German. I'm fluent in German. I got a U in French. I can speak a bit of French now. And I speak Danish.
You speak Danish, so you speak 4 languages. Your English is quite good.
I'm working at it.
Yeah. It's quite good. Yeah. You'll get there one day.
Yeah.
I think you would. Do you know what I find fascinating then? So you obviously do study, because I know you're massively into neuro-linguistic programming, which is the whole mindset before skill set.
Yeah.
But you don't just know that. So that is definitely a form of studying in itself.
It's, I was lucky that in Germany and in Denmark, when the work market over there is quite competitive for golf pros. So there's always some young lad that's going to come along and take your job. So you had to be sort of up to date with the qualifications, and the modern qualifications over there were the human body and also the psychological side of things. I had the golf side because we were well respected as a British golf professional. So I had those skills, but I needed to top up on the mental side and the human body, on how biomechanics, on how the body works.
Yeah, because the thing is with the neuro-linguistic programming, I mean, at what age did you start studying that, where you thought, well, it's so important to have your mind in that right? Because you leave school, were you quite naughty at school?
No, not really.
But you always had golf.
I never got caught.
Okay, but you always had golf?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were a punk?
I was a punk.
So I've seen those pictures of you when you were you playing for Dorset? Who were you playing for?
Yeah, I played for Dorset, and it was all, Stiff Little Fingers and UK subs, Susie and the Banshees. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great because the picture I saw of you, you've got, I suppose, 4 guys that look very much like golfers.
Yeah.
And suddenly Sid Vicious is there on the side.
Yeah.
And it's a really lovely picture because but I remember you saying that you played another team and they also had a punk.
That's right, Devon.
Devon?
Yeah.
Did you become mates and just spit at one another?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you part of the whole punk scene? Did you go to the punk movement stuff?
I went to concerts.
You did?
We went to concerts at Paul Art Centre and things like that. It was all part of it. I think, when I look back at the words to the records were quite meaningful at the time. Pistols, I think some of their lyrics are quite current today.
I think you had to be a part of it. I don't think...
Well, I was just slightly young because I think Pistols was 77, 78. I left school in 1980. So we got the sort of the end of punk, really. And then there came, I could go on about Apocalypse Now, which started in 82, 83 with the Exploited, Anti-Pasty, Killing Joke. But that was... I still listen to some of it now. But,
So what took you to go abroad? Because I know you would have been playing a lot. And did you ever think you were going to properly play pro on a world scale?
Yeah, we all dream.
But so at what point did you know, no, I'm not going to actually do this, I'm going to become a coach? And you are, in my eyes, one of the best coaches in the UK. You're the only person that could teach me golf.
In flip-flops.
In flip-flops. Yeah, I did do that, didn't I? That's still talked about it. Yeah.
When 1986 British Open, I won the pre-Q, went up to Scotland, missed it by 8, then thought, this is hard work. It cost me £1,300, although I was sponsored at the time, and I thought, this is going to get me into debt. So I went down the club pro route, went to Sherborne, got bored at Sherborne, so I went to Germany.
Okay, and how were things different in Germany to the UK?
You were much more respected as a golf professional.
Because you were British, or yeah?
They valued, because it was a growing sport, new culture over there.
Also, a lot more wealthy people play golf in Germany, don't they?
It was at that time. It was top 8%.
I mean, the great thing with golf is, so as a DJ, I meet a lot of people from all walks of life, literally all walks of life. And I suppose you could say the world of entertainment is quite classless, because 1 minute you might be DJing for those types, next minute drug dealers, whatever, they're all there, and you have to be cool with everybody. But I remember you saying once, well, you tend to meet quite influential people, even when you go off to Portugal or wherever. You're always meeting someone that's exciting.
You've got to be socially flexible, so you've got to be able to move. This is not being sort of downgrading different people, but you've got to be able to move between the classes or read the room. Let's say read the room.
Like a chameleon.
You've got Boy George. He had it absolutely on the nail, didn't he? Come a chameleon. Right.
And that was but he wasn't being a chameleon.
No.
He was being completely.
But that's what we have to be. You've got to read the room, and I mean that's what we do. You know,
and that's a skill in itself, isn't it? To be able to walk into any environment and
absolutely.
I mean, without a doubt, the one thing I think, the one gift I've been given is that I can pretty much go most places and make friends quite too easily.
Absolutely, yes.
To my own detriment, and I remember you've had a go at me a few times about that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's all right. You could be as rude as you like. I don't mind.
I'm not going to be rude. I'm not rude.
It's okay. So when you're in Germany, you meet. Would you say you suddenly learnt? Had you done Germany before you had moved there? So you moved there without having visited Germany?
Yeah, I didn't have a clue.
And now you speak fluent German?
I had to.
Yeah. Okay. But most of them would have spoken English.
Yeah,
they?
there was of course, a top 6%, 8% of the country. Yeah, they were all educated people. They were all dentists, doctors, lawyers, solicitors.
And showbiz people.
And Rudy Carell.
Rudy Carell. I mean,
he was Dutch.
He was Dutch, but Rudy. He was a German star.
Yeah, Bruce Forsyth of German television.
So.
Saturday
night. My grandmother loved him.
Yeah.
So I used to get sent to Germany in the summers, and I would and the Easters, and sometimes even not so much at Christmas. But I remember always just sitting with my grandmother and watching Rudy Carell. Yeah. And she was obsessed. So she absolutely loved him. It was like, but he was a great. I mean, was he a good golfer?
No.
No. And do you find a lot of people play golf because it's fashionable?
A lot of the Germans at that time were playing golf. Yeah, they came over from tennis, and golf was fashionable. It was the thing to do. So you'd have the rich people there. They played golf for the sake of playing golf, to be seen to be playing golf. They even went in a solarium with golfers wear a glove on the left hand. So the ladies went into the solarium with a golf club on their left hand, and then came out, and of course their left hand was white when they took the glove off, and they used to say, guck mal, ich spiele Golf, I play golf, and wave their left hand around.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, just to
just to
show off.
Yeah. So that's what we call the Schickimicki, which is Schickimicki is the the Neue Reich, the new rich, the new money. They were the ones that had to show that they played golf. They weren't very good at golf, and they weren't playing it for the right reasons. Really.
And they weren't really enjoying the game that much.
No.
Can you tell quite quickly people when you're coaching them who's playing golf because they want to play golf and they love the game, and who wants to be part of the Schickimicki, as you say? Yeah,
you can see it, and those people divide, because you'll see it in the clubhouse, because people naturally group. Yeah. Going back to the NLP model now of people and people's habits, people tend to group. So you'll get the Schickimicki non-golfers, they tend to group together, and the competitive golfers tend to group together. So people sort. So you can put 100 people in a room, and within a few days you'll get these groups, and then you just identify the groups.
Right. Well, that is interesting. So when I was playing, I definitely thought I loved golf, but my biggest mistake I made, and I'm not going to say who I was playing, but I think you do know who I was playing. I made the mistake of playing with two people that were really, really boring. And I realised I don't love golf that much. I love the social side of golf.
Yeah.
And I do love the social side of golf.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when I was playing about with these, it happened twice. It's happened my two last games. I was stuck for 18 holes with people that I couldn't wait to get away from. And it put me off the game. Like subconsciously put me off the game, which is bad, isn't it? Because if I was really loving golf, you wouldn't really care who you're playing against, would you?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. It's more enjoyable when you're playing with people that you've in a got a common interest with. Who was that? Who are you playing with? Philippe Flop? Was he French?
I'm not telling you who I was playing with. We're
Flop.
definitely not saying it on the podcast. Definitely not.
But no, you again, people group, and you can have bad experiences with people that you don't get on with. Not that they're bad people; it's just the rapport isn't there, the chemistry isn't there. But the thing is with golf is that being a member of the golf club, you have to be prepared to play with everybody.
Right? Yeah.
Otherwise, you form cliques, and that's what we call a club in a club.
Yeah.
It can actually be quite dangerous.
How much difference do you see with society with Germany and England? I mean, how long have you been back here now?
Oh, a few years now. What, I don't know, 6 years.
I mean, you go away a lot still.
Yeah.
You're over in Portugal a lot. You go back to Germany a lot.
Yeah.
But you did like Germany a lot.
Yeah. Well, don't forget.
And you're in Denmark for ages as well.
Don't forget, I was in Denmark for nearly 15 years. So it's strange being back here. And you are, if I may say, don't get big-headed about this or anything, but you are one of the only people that asks questions.
What do you mean? Well, we're doing a podcast.
No,
I can tell you stories about myself all day, believe you me.
outside of the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
When I was doing the personal development, I was taught, and this was really Germany, end of Germany, so late 1998 onwards, and then into Denmark in the early 2000s. Personal development was ask questions.
Really?
So if there was something I didn't understand, or the Danes or the Germans didn't quite understand, the question would be, Andrew, or I would say Jürgen, or Søren. Do you know what? I like what you're saying, but it's not really what I understand. Can you enlighten me on why you think that way or why you believe it's that way? Because I'm pretty keen to learn, and I'd love to hear your insight on it. I've never had that question once, apart from you, in England since I've been back.
Really? I do it quite often, I think, don't I?
Bloody nightmare. I think,
Even in the car on the way here.
Yeah.
That was like,
I know.
Yeah, it's a 25-minute, half an hour drive. So, yeah.
I think, oh, God. That's why I only go out with you once a fortnight.
Do you know where I was taught that, though? We were taught that at Disney. Actually,
it doesn't surprise me.
But not taught that in British schools, because I remember I also wasn't great at schools. I don't understand how I made it to university, but I did. But at the same time, I do remember if I did ever ask anything at school and didn't understand, you were just told you were thick.
Yeah.
So in England, it was shut down very quickly.
Yeah.
But when we went to Disney, I remember Disney, they just gave us this big thing that there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Okay.
A stupid question is the one you don't ask.
Yeah.
If you really aren't sure about something and they've chosen to employ you and take you to America and you're not sure about something, then it's really stupid if you don't ask.
Yeah.
But the difference is I think Americans are brilliant communicators and not shy to ask an embarrassing question. Maybe. You know, I think the thing with Brits is Brits have got a fantastic sense of humour and Brits have got a brilliant creative, I mean, I love Great Britain now, but I spent many years frustrated with Great Britain. But I think Great Britain now, for me, I love what I've learned in Germany and I love what I've learned in America, but there's almost opportunity in England because there's so much potential here, but nobody really asks questions like you said.
No, I think from I'll put my neck out here and say there's a guy called Deepak Chopra who's an American Indian, I think. And he wrote, or within his studies, wrote the principle between growth mindset, fixed mindset. And so what I'm talking about is growth mindset.
Growth mindset, that's
as
good.
a part to fixed mindset. So growth mindset is when you are asking questions, you're on your front foot, whereas fixed mindset is more limiting beliefs, insecure, stand back, not afraid to put 1 foot forward. So it's growth mindset versus.
So what's the
fixed
difference
mindset.
between confidence and arrogance, would you say?
Very little. I think confidence is a nice way of being arrogant.
Really?
Yeah, but then
So it's politer.
yeah,
But my dad used to say to me, he used to say, "Thing is with you, Alan, you're confident. I'm arrogant." He was arrogant. He used to say, "I'm arrogant." He admitted it. He was arrogant. But he said, "You're confident." And I think the real thing is, I know some really, really good DJs that don't take risks or do anything, and they are very arrogant. I'm not going to mention any names, but they haven't taken risks. But I think the difference is, to be confident, you've almost got to be willing to embarrass yourself if necessary. But an arrogant person wouldn't do that.
No, but also we mustn't forget as well that confidence is quite fragile, because I don't think you would want to go onto a golf course with confidence, because you are vulnerable. Because if you lose your confidence, then you got a problem. So lack of confidence is probably not good. What you need to be is, you need to know where you are, and you need to be realistic.
And that comes down to, because I remember you saying when we used to play golf, and you used to go, right, this is your last shot.
Yeah.
And that would usually be the one that I would mess up completely, because, oh my gosh, it's the last one. You better be really good on this one. And I heard Mick Jagger talk about this. He said, we just aim for that certain standard all the time. Sometimes it goes a little bit higher and sometimes it goes a little bit lower. But the actual standard is the vitality.
Putting it into the golfing analogy is, if you've got 100 balls on the driving range, you always throw the last 3 balls away.
Because you're panicking.
No, because you've hit your 97th ball and it was a nice shot, so throw the next 3 away.
Really?
Why do you want to hit the last 3? What do you want to go away? Are you going to go away with that feel-good factor? Well, that's not going to help you tomorrow. So throw the last 3 balls away.
Do you follow Tony Robbins?
I saw Tony Robbins in Copenhagen. Yeah. Saw him 6 hours.
6 hours? Just him?
Yeah, well, with about 6,000 others.
Yeah.
Awake the Giant Within.
Oh, I watched the movie. They did a movie about it on Netflix.
Oh, that was Shrek, wasn't it?
It was called Awake the Giant Within. Yeah. It was,
they did a movie.
Yeah, well, it was like a documentary movie, so they went and followed him all over Europe when he was. So supposedly he has lots of people speaking on his behalf as well, doesn't he?
Well,
so he'll fly and do different ones.
Yeah, I mean, when you think, I think I'm right in saying he had a show in London Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and
Big money.
Big money. We paid then. That was £700 for the evening.
And his overheads aren't huge because it's It's just him, isn't it?
So he had.
Did he do the whole?
Oh yeah. Oh, he's clapping hands. He looks like a giant when he claps hands.
Does he?
Yeah, he looks like one of these. What these rugby players where you got these massive hands and you sit in the cloud with these rubber hands on. Yeah, I mean he's good at what he does.
So he's got stage presence.
Oh Christ, bundles of it.
Really?
Yeah.
So you are enchanted.
Oh,
would you say when you were getting back to your school days, did you struggle to learn if it was boring? Do you think? Because I used to think, the teachers used to tell me I was thick all the time. But I look back now and I actually realise the teachers were just they couldn't hold my attention. Yeah. And you've talked about this whole asking questions thing. I don't think I ever asked questions when I was at school. I asked the questions when I came out of school. But does that work the other way around? That a lot of people that were uber academic, once they've finished all that, don't ask any more questions. No. So they kind of go, right, I'm now an accountant. I know.
daughter said, they started about 8 o'clock, and on about the 7th or 8th patient, my daughter said, okay, you can lead. So she said, no, I can't. No, I can't do this. I can't do this. And my daughter said, well, you're as qualified as I am. You've done your 6 years, and you've got to step forward. By 1 o'clock, she'd gone home.
What? Quit?
Quit. She'd gone home. She said to Hannah, I can't do. I don't know what they are because I got used, so I don't really know. But all these clever people that were geeks, we call them geeks, that sit in their bedroom for 15 years. They read books and they've got everything, but actually in the outside world, they've got no social skills. So Hannah was saying, well, yeah, she was equally as qualified as me in an academic way, but she had absolutely no social skills.
So you could say that Hannah, so did you teach Hannah, your daughter, and your son Ben? Your son Ben actually played for Denmark, didn't he? Football. He was gymnastics in the Olympics.
He was trampolinist. They were both sportsmen. Daughter was top 30 Europe on the trampoline, and Ben finished 9th in the world's under-18s on the synchronized trampoline. So sport educated them and gave them the social skills.
But did you train them mentally?
Yeah, I used NLP on them. Yeah,
you did?
Yeah.
I remember one story I love with your son, when I remember you said he had an accident or something like that.
Yeah, broke his back. Yeah, three fractures.
I don't like that story.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that was such a great story. But there's a bit where he was, or he didn't do that well in one specific thing, and you said you waited 3 days before you tell him.
Yeah, it was tough, you know. It's when you're a parent and you're on the sideline at football, you know, you get all the parents giving it all the, you know, the shouting and everything, and it's the kid that should come first. So you, as a parent, I went through that of being, am I living my failed ambitions through him? And I looked at the mother and thought, what's she up to? But then, you know, obviously when he was jumping in the nationals and he'd come home, the first thing I would do with the young child was bring him back into the environment that he belonged in. Yeah. So if it was a 10-year-old, I'd give him Lego. And when X Factor, we used to cheat with Sky TV over there. So we used to watch X Factor on a Saturday night. They used to come back from Copenhagen about 6 o'clock after jumping, and I used to put X Factor on. I used to go down the garage and buy them some crisps and some sweets and whatever. And we used to sit there. So bring him back into the environment, and I never asked him until 2 or 3 days later how he got on.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, because it's always, how'd you get on then? You know, it was costing me a bloody fortune, you know. They were all over Europe and all over the place, and you'd think it's got to be result related. Well, no, it was a process, and it was a process over 4, 6, 8 years, 10 years, and they're still going now. They're still in the process.
Well, it's a very similar thing with entertainment, I think, because if you do a bad comedy
absolutely.
Gig, or you do a bad DJ gig, or you do a bad radio show or something like that, sometimes you don't need to know the verdict.
No.
You know? I know my mum's watching now, and she is a brilliant support. She's a brilliant support, but sometimes she's very harsh to tell me immediately when it's not that good.
Aber das ist Deutsch, ne?
Das ist sehr Deutsch, muss man sagen. Yeah. But, I mean, look, how important is that the people that, you know, the people
she cares.
She cares, yeah, and your mother is the same, isn't she? She cares. She's good. In fact, I'll never forget being on the golf. Probably not allowed to say this on here. I remember being on the golf course with you, and I don't know what you'd done wrong. Yeah. But your mother just marched onto the golf course. Having a go at you about something, and I was like, wow. Yeah. Wow. I was like, my mother, all is forgiven. Seriously.
Well, she said to me when I came back from Portugal, you know, I had nearly 3 months in Portugal.
Yeah.
And I went back to see her the day after I got back, and she said, there's more of you that's come back than went. A polite way of saying you're fat.
Yeah. Well, you do like a drink, don't you? So
it's got nothing to do with the alcohol.
No, what's it got to do with?
It's
just fish. fish and vegetables puts on so much weight, doesn't it? It's a nightmare. So just finishing up here. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years with what you're doing? Because I know you're really into the NLP thing, but I'm still blown away about your qualifications thing. I genuinely thought you went to university. You're probably still blown away that I did go to university.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have a word with Southampton.
Yeah. But I still can't believe that. So what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years?
Were you in the canteen there or something?
I served people fish and chips. That's what I did, yeah.
Oh, right.
Worked in the library. Yeah. No, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years with what you're doing?
The same as now.
But do you get as much out of the coaching? So, for instance, with Ben, getting back to that with your I remember your wife was told to not be in headshot of him when he was trampolining. So, do you remember Brian Wells?
Yeah.
You remember Brian Wells? He played for Chelsea, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, Brian did. Yeah, I saw Brian last
And I remember
week.
him saying to me once, mums weren't even allowed to be within eye shot of the players.
No. There was one thing that stood out was Ben was jumping on the trampoline, Danish under 12s as a very young boy. We were speaking English in the house, and outside of the house everything was Danish.
Yeah.
So he was learning the English language, albeit on a sort of a slower level. And he said to me once, I said, how'd you get on then, son? He said, I had this tingling, I had this feeling in my stomach. And I said, that's energy.
Meaning nervousness.
Yes, that's what he was insinuating. He was talking about butterflies, I guess. So I said, that's energy. That makes you jump higher. He said, great.
Really?
So,
would you say that's healthy when people get nervous before?
Yeah, absolutely. And you use it positively.
Yeah.
So off he went, and I think probably 6-8 months later he comes back. We have a chat, and I said, so what's happening then? He said, I was nervous at the weekend. And I said, what do you mean nervous? He said, well, I had that feeling. So there was only one person that introduced him to the word nervous, and that was his mum.
Wow. Okay.
Now,
I still get nervous before even.
Yeah,
podcasts.
but that's positive. It depends how you label it and how everybody.
Anxious is a better word.
Yeah, if you speak to any performer right across the spectrum, if they say they're not nervous, they're lying.
Or sometimes they're just not that good. Because I was listening to Jerry Seinfeld. Now Jerry Seinfeld is worth, I think, 200 million. Something silly like that. But he still goes off every weekend and does a comedy gig somewhere.
Yeah.
And he said he's still nervous all day long. Doesn't want to talk to anybody, has his routine. He knows he's going on. Sometimes he's not even earning any money. No. But it's just so vital that he's doing what he does.
Absolutely.
And he said he was on tour with one guy. And it was him sat with, I can't remember who the other guy was. It might have been Eddie Murphy. But they said they had this third guy that didn't actually make it. And they were all on tour together, and the guy never got nervous. And he said, this is easy, this. Yeah. And they said, he just didn't care. But because he didn't care, he didn't actually progress either. Yeah. So one last question. Very, very, very important. What is your favourite fast food?
Favourite fast food?
Yeah.
Probably chicken.
Junk food?
If I could catch one.
Yeah, okay. We're done. Andy Pakes, thank you very much indeed. NLP coach. Follow him on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. He's such a TikToker. Yeah.
Am I?
Dankeschön. No, you're not, are you?
No.
Andrew Pakes, get some golf lessons. Go on. Thank you.